Hello, folks. This is XCOM 2, War of the Chosen, and this is I'm beginning my final mission to beat the game. I'm trying to think now if I've ever actually beaten the game before. I know I've never actually beaten it with this expansion, War of the Chosen. But I'm going to give a little bit of rundown of what's going on before the final mission. Very much abridged, obviously. There's a whole campaign and story arc here. But thought I'd give a little bit of thing, a little bit of description of what's going on, but mostly focus on the characters that I made. My friends, my friends who I put in the game that were recruited as soldiers to fight against the alien menace. So we see here on the home screen that they like to do is they like to randomize people, actual soldiers that are in with their gear, that are in your current playthrough, and they put them on the title screen. Right here we see Sylvanstone here, one of my friends. She's stalking an Advent convenience store. It kind of looks like a 6, like a 7-Eleven 7-6 sort of thing. These are some Advent troops, so I'm sure she's got a good reason. You know, she's not just going in there to buy a hot dog. Definitely, but not by the looks of the gun that she's towing around with her. So let's get into it. Oh, the music wasn't playing. Oops. Oh well. This is one of the factions here, the Reapers. Alright, so I'm going to make this kind of brief as much as I can. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to see the world map because it's just the final mission that shows up. It doesn't let you do anything. I kind of reached a point of no return in this playthrough where I did a mission, and it kind of warned me, like, after you do this primary mission, you're not going to be able to go back, so that's okay. But what we have here is a mobile base, a very Avengers helicarrier-ass looking thing. It's currently parked, I guess. And so you start with this in the game. Well, let's go back. Let's go back and talk about, in order to kind of talk about XCOM 2, you have to talk about XCOM 1, or rather XCOM Enemy Unknown, as there were many other XCOM games before this, but this is kind of like the more modern set of games. And I say modern, I think XCOM Enemy Unknown came out way more than 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago. I mean, this game is almost 10 years old, I think. So, I never actually beat it in with the War of the Chosen. I might have not beaten it. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I might have beaten it, but I don't think I've beaten it with War of the Chosen. I just never got to it. So anyway, XCOM Enemy Unknown. You know, aliens start invading Earth suddenly, and there was the secret project that was kind of internationally funded. That was like, if the aliens were to actually invade, this is what we would actually do. We would activate this task force, this like paramilitary task force that would defend Earth against aliens. So XCOM Enemy Unknown, again, it's turn-based. You kind of move and act with all your soldiers before move and act with all your soldiers. You know, it's on a grid, square grid, and you know, you move, you shoot, throw grenades, etc. And then all the aliens get to go. And that's the same in this, as you will see. But the whole story from XCOM Enemy Unknown, these aliens invade, you kind of get a feel of, like, there's these lots of different types of aliens that invade, but they all seem to be controlled by a group of aliens called the Elders, who are psionically active. They are psychic, or psionic, or whatever they call it in this universe. And they tend to control and gather other types of aliens. And so you end up fighting a lot of things. You end up fighting some minorly psychic guys. You end up fighting some, like, cyborg, but basically like cyborg type of aliens. You end up fighting some, like, advanced robots, and they all have, like, super advanced technology, and there's UFOs and all that fun stuff. So in that game, you had a central officer, which unfortunately I don't know if we're going to be able to see. Central Officer Bradford. He's in Enemy Unknown and in this game. But he was kind of the guy that would, like, inform you of what's going on. He kind of brings everything together, all the information. In Enemy Unknown, you had an engineering department where you would build things. In Enemy Unknown, you his name was Chief Engineer Shen. Here we have Chief Engineer Shen, his daughter, who took over as chief engineer for XCOM after her father passed away.
Pickings are slim, but I'm hoping we find a few more recruits who can handle a wrench. I could use the help.
No, Shen. You have plenty of engineers. We're at the end of the game. You don't need any more help. There's also a science department.
Our work is proceeding as expected, Commander.
Yep, you're not doing too much anymore, Tigan, are you? We're at the end of the game. So, there was also a science department in Enemy Unknown. And in that one, I mean, in this one as well, but that one you're very much kind of tasked with, like, all these different aliens that you encounter. You find them, you do autopsies, you also gain more information about them if you take them alive and autopsy them. There's no live autopsies in this game. The scientist in the first game actually find out in a DLC in this game that she kind of went nuts after the world ended, and she made some really big, bad, scary alien monstrosities. So, Tigan is not that way, although he did work for Advent. But I'm tangenting a little bit. So an Enemy Unknown.
What we might find on the other side of that gateway, but to some degree I envy our soldiers, as they step through what could very well be a portal to another world. They are as much explorers as they are soldiers, and our fate rests with them.
Yep, Tigan is talking about our final mission.
We've gone as far as we can.
Hey, look, Bradford.
It's time we go through this gateway of theirs and shut the Avatar project down for good. If our past experiences are any indication, we need to be prepared to throw everything we've got at them.
I like how the subtitles actually didn't match up there. That was interesting. That was Bradford. So you met the 3 departments, and those are basically the same 3 departments in Enemy Unknown. And yeah, so, like, you're tasked with fighting aliens, right? And these aliens have a hierarchy, and they do crazy stuff, and they recruit lots of different types of aliens into their army. And they were tasked in Enemy Unknown to take over the Earth. And as a cool sort of deal with that, XCOM 2 assumes you do not get to the end of the game. You do not get to the end of the game, you do not win, you do not face down the Elders and stop the invasion, as I've beaten Enemy Unknown, and that's the case when you beat it. But in this, and they do some flashbacks, yeah, I mean, this game can be very hard, especially at higher difficulties, so they kind of took a Dark Souls sort of approach to it, as look, dude, we tried and we were outnumbered and out technologied and what have you, and we lost. We just lost. So, XCOM 2 takes place 20 years after the aliens have conquered Earth. A lot has changed. The organization that kind of runs Earth, and it's a very like puppet sort of government sort of thing. It's called Advent. And there's a lot of propaganda basically about them, how Advent has opened all these gene clinics around the world, and they have kind of started eradicating all these human diseases, and wars are no longer a thing, and the food supply is more stable, and everything is this beautiful utopia as long as you agree that the aliens that invaded us had good intentions, and they're bringing humanity, they're raising humanity up. That was kind of the deal. But XCOM has kind of secretly been operating in the shadows since then. They started building this helicarrier like thing, and kind of hiding it around the world with cloaking technology. And that was actually Chief Engineer Shen's, her father's life's work. He never got to see the helicarrier take off. So Lily, his daughter, took over the reins, and it was sort of bittersweet. But anyway, the XCOM 2 starts with Bradford setting up this sort of, I guess, terrorist attack. Kind of bombs this like military thing. It was going to be a thing that was going to be like, this is Unification Day. This marks the 20-year anniversary of Advent taking over and making all of human and Earth's lives better, right? XCOM's thing being like, no, that's not what's really going on. We really got to fight these aliens because we know they're up to no good. They slaughtered us a bunch as they were taking over Earth. I'm sure they don't have good things planned for us. In that first mission, the tutorial, Bradford kind of sets this bomb, and you play these soldiers, and you actually rescue the commander. The commander is supposed to be the player in XCOM Enemy Unknown. You don't ever see what they look like, and they're not really they don't say anything because you are the one who is making decisions, you as the player. And that was, I thought that was something that was neat. That was, when they were talking about the commander, they're talking about the person that they saved from this Advent clinic, who was in this like stasis pod. They're talking about you, the player of the game. You were the commander. You were captured by Advent. You were experimented on. And it seems, since we got to the end of the game here, you as the commander, you were basically tasked with running combat simulations. So basically your brain was used as this supercomputer, I guess, for running simulations and how to, win at combat. So your brain was probably kind of used as to fight XCOM and fight resistances and fight, etc. So it was a real rough situation for you as the commander. But after you were broken out, chip was taken out of your head, and they analyzed it. They found out all that information. Kind of long story short, we kind of figured out a way to access where the elders are, because the elders are not on Earth. And the way we found that out is by procuring this gate that we found, and kind of reassembling it to our needs. We messed with it a little bit. We found out there is a 2-part key that you need to access this gate and access what we assume is another planet where these elders are and are kind of staging everything. So that's what we're doing. We have this gate. Some of the other nefarious things that were going on is early on we found out, like, okay, well, what's up with these gene clinics? Like, yes, a lot of people are claiming, oh yeah, you know, they cured me of this, they cured me of that. That's great. A lot of those gene clinics had a lot of people go missing, and we ended up finding out that they were kind of just harvesting people. They were kidnapping and harvesting people to kind of get a source of DNA. They were kind of refining us. As we've seen with a lot of their aliens, they kind of have a very in-depth knowledge on how to do genetic manipulation. The elders have seemed to take quite a liking to humans. They've incorporated human DNA into some of the other aliens that we see. If you were to look up what a sectoid looks like in XCOM Enemy Unknown, he kind of looks like this guy here. Little tiny guy, like 3-4 feet tall, psionically active. He kind of looks like one of them really stereotypic little gray men sort of deal. The sectoids in this are like fully human-sized. You got more health. So yeah, they've incorporated human DNA into the sectoid. So that's what these elders tend to do. They just kind of go to a planet, they take the important DNA that they see in the species that's there, and then they move on. That's seemingly what they are doing with humans. But they kind of been doing it a lot. We see a lot of cases of this in XCOM 2. So Advent is the bad guys. They are harvesting people. XCOM knows this. We've suspected this for quite some time. So why don't we meet our team of people that have been going on many missions to take down Advent and the alien overlords. First, before we do that, why don't we view the memorial?
To all our brothers and sisters supporting the cause, you should know that today your efforts have helped our brave soldiers on the front line achieve another victory over the invaders.
Little resistance radio for you. We see our fallen soldiers. Many sort of nameless folk. But this person here, Elena Dragonova, she was part of the Reapers. She's actually like a full-ass character that is in this DLC. She ended up dying. Most important, we have to say our condolences to our first friend, the only friend that died. Unfortunately, he was only a rookie, Mr. Buttons. He was only a rookie. He died in the first mission. He made one attack. He did 6 damage. He hit. That's good. He actually survived 3 attacks, but Advent Trooper took him down. So, Mr. Buttons, sorry you couldn't be part of this. Unfortunately, when everyone's a rookie, everyone is squishy as hell. And I was going to move on if other ones of my friends died, but pretty much all of the times where they would have died, there was really no way I was going to win that mission. And if you don't win a mission in this, it really snowballs into really bad stuff. So I could have I bet I could have replayed this mission a number of times, and I still probably would have lost a rookie. I've started many of these campaigns. Mr. Buttons, sorry you couldn't be part of this, but thank you for your sacrifice. Actually, is there... Oh, wait. I can do... view photos. I think my gosh. Calm down. No, we're not done yet. View photos. There we go. We need to avenge Colonel Buttons here. So, our team.
I don't blame Shen for
6.
wanting to keep an eye on Taigen, but at this point, we need all the help we can get.
Yes. Taigen has been suspicious because he came from Advent to help us. Used to work for them, but we're at the end of the game. I think he's good. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he'll sabotage us the last second. So our team, the Grenadier class, Colonel Schmitty. I still have one of these to get out. We'll see who I give it to. Colonel Schmitty is a Grenadier. They have a grenade launcher, which is cool. Their big old beam cannon can shred through armor. They also have an ability called Suppression, where they can kind of pin an enemy down, and if they move, she gets a free shot on them. It's really trying to put a dude out of commission for a round, or at least make it hard for them to do anything. It's got a cool thing called holo targeting. Even if Schmitty misses, anyone else that shoots that alien this turn gets a bonus to hit them. Very, very useful. Her grenades do more damage. I don't know why the wording on this is a little bit weird. Basically, if she starts her turn, doesn't move, throws a grenade, normally that would end their actions, but Salvo allows her to grenade and then use her cannon, which is very powerful. And then the saturation fire. I haven't really used it, but you basically like shoot a big old cone of bullets and you hit things, you damage cover, uses lots of ammo, but seems cool. It'll probably be useful. We'll see. So that's Schmitty. Mr. Panfried, or let's see here. What is the actual class called? Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter, very much a sniper. And these classes were randomly assigned as they were. They went from rookie to squatty. They're just randomly assigned. I think there were options for me to be like, oh, once they get promoted, I want them to be blah. But I don't know. I think it's always fun to kind of just randomize it. Anyway, the sharpshooter has an ability called Squad Sight. Basically, they can use the eyeballs of other people to fire their guns. Kind of like using other people as spotters. And for Panfried here, I kind of diversified between the two. This side is way more like dealing with like being a pistol yeehaw sort of deal. Did a little bit of both for Panfried here. Got long watch. Whenever he overwatches, he can use squad sight. He can use the eyeballs of other people to shoot from. Lightning Hands is a really cool ability. Basically, it's a free shot every 3 turns or so. Free shot with the pistol. It's a free action. Can be very useful, especially to finish someone off. Death from above, killing an enemy at a lower elevation, costs only a single action and does not end your turn. Which, I don't know if that even matters anymore with the special gun, which I'll get to in a second. And it's armor special too. Kill zone, I've been a little bit... I wish this worked a little better. Basically, normally when you do an Overwatch action, if that soldier sees anyone, like move, sees an alien move on their turn, they can shoot at them. And it's at a reduced aim. But what this does is it's saying, hey, you can take a reaction shot against anyone that moves or attacks within this cone that you set. It's cool. I wish it was a little bit cooler because I feel like it just doesn't work all the time. honestly, this aim thing, I've never actually done it. You have to... Honestly, I probably should have retrained Panf right here and given them this other one, but eh. If I ever get a chance to hunker down, my next turn, he gets plus 20 aim. But this one's actually pretty cool. This one's very yeehaw, I would say. I need some water, hold on. Fan fire. Fire the pistol 3 times at the same target. Very useful. So, very cool. So let's get down to the special things. With some of the DLC, before War of the Chosen, there were some small ones. One of which was this. I mentioned that previous scientist that worked in XCOM Enemy Unknown in the previous game. So she made 3 weird badasses. 3 weird badass aliens. One of which was called an Archon. Archon basically looks like a floating torso. I mean, that's what it is. It's arms and torso and head and jets instead of legs or... So, there was a King Archon that this scientist made. And the way that these like king aliens worked is they, instead of having their own turn, they would kind of, between each of your soldiers' actions, they would have a turn, which was pretty rough. And these guys had shitloads of health. So what you had to do when they showed up kind of randomly on a mission is you would have to kind of take down as much of their health as you can. And then they would start to run away. They would like create a portal and then they would run away. And then they would show up on future missions with that same amount of health. They were really rough. Because they just had so many actions and yeah. So anyway, once you killed these 3, and I have killed all 3, funny enough, I think I killed this one. There's a weapon upgrade that, like, it's usually like a small percentage. It's like, hey, so, you know, if you shoot with this gun, you got a 5% chance that you're just going to instantly kill whatever you shoot. Right, so every time you roll the dice, when you have this weapon mod on a weapon, like 5%, and it gets better, like superior is like 15% or something. You just instantly kill. I think with the Archon King, that's what happened. They showed up, I shot a few shots, and then a single soldier that activated, and it actually killed it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if this should have been the case with these boss type monsters. But whatever. At this point, I had the highest tech of things that I could achieve. But yeah. So anyway, after you kill these king, these whatever king things, you can make armor based off of them. So he's got this King Archon armor. Let's see, is that what it's called? Icarus armor. It's called Icarus armor. And it lets him jump up and down structures. And then he also has this cool ability. It's twice per mission. He could just jetpack to anywhere, which is, I found, is very useful for a sniper. You're like, well, let's just put you over here on this other building, way far away. Very, very good. So there's that. Let's talk about his gun for a moment. His gun is from the War from the Chosen, and his pistol, actually. His sniper and his pistol. Those are from... War of the Chosen kind of did a similar thing. Way more story-oriented stuff going on in War of the Chosen. There was like a lot of story missions. But anyway, very similarly actually to these like king aliens. There were 3 chosen, they call them, chosen of the elders, that were given exceptional abilities in different ways. The way that they worked is you kind of play the missions as normal, and there was a chance that they would like show up. And these three chosen kind of had three regions of Earth that they were kind of hanging out on. They would like take like a continent or two and be like, this is their domain. So like whenever you do a mission in that area, it'd be a chance that they would show up, and they kind of would have their own sort of initiative or own sort of turn. So it would be like XCOM turn, Alien turn, Chosen turn.
If you want to know the truth about the Templars, I suspect they all might be completely mad. Yes, we've all seen their power, but I don't think I've ever met one I'd call rational. Then again, many people would question the ways of the Reaper as well.
Not super important to comment on that. That's like, there's a couple of extra factions that were chosen, added. Anyway. So yeah, so like there's these three chosen, and they'd show up on these missions. And this particular chosen, he was like a cool snipery guy. But they'd all have like a bunch of health and a bunch of really weird and wacky abilities. And you'd have to like still do the mission you're there for, right? But they also want you to kill the chosen. Once you kill them, you realize that they just come back. Also, I just realized right here are some trophies from different aliens. That's an Archon. It's got legs and a little bit more torso, and he's got like a gun staff. But yeah. But anyway, these chosen. Ooh, are they right back here? Let's see. Yeah, there they are. There's the three chosen. That's the sniper chosen. That's the psychic chosen. And this is the like assassin stabulator chosen. So I've killed the three of them. And after you do so, you can make their weapons. This is Sniper Man's weapons and pistol. They all have really cool abilities. But yeah, these chosen, you realize like, oh wait, I killed you. How, you keep playing missions, and they're like, yep, I'm back, and you're like, well, what the fuck? You realize that after they're killed, they're teleported somewhere, and they regenerate completely. You're like, well, what the fuck? This is... And I gotta say, it actually, like, it makes the beginning of the game hard when they first show up. Like, you're sitting here, you're trying to get better tech, and the way that XCOM's always handled tech is, like, you find the aliens' technology, and you research it to incorporate into your own. That's how XCOM's technology has kind of always worked, which is neat. Because you kind of start out with, like, regular guns, and now we're, like, weird powered laser guns, which are better. So anyway, with these three chosen, you have to basically do these covert actions. You send soldiers out on these covert actions, and you gotta, like, use intel and do this and do that, and you gotta like find out where their fortresses are. And as the game goes on, the chosen get stronger. So like, not only do you have to like go toward the main goal of finding out what the aliens are really doing here with all these people in these gene clinics, but you're also like, you have to hunt down these chosen with these covert actions, with etc. And you finally get to their fortresses, and you find out, like, yeah, so, like, they have this chamber that they're teleported to, this regeneration chamber, and you have to, like, blow it up. So you have to, like, kill them, fight them, and then you have to, like, blow up the, like, weird stasis chamber that they go into after they're killed and teleported. And then once you blow the stasis chamber, you have to kill them again. So... in these fortress missions, you may end up killing them 2, 3, 4 times, which is rough, because they're also, they have other aliens there supporting them. So yeah, that's the deal with the Chosen. And after you get, their weapons are really good. Most of the time with snipers, it takes basically your full action. It takes everything you can do in a turn to fire a sniper rifle. You normally can't move and fire. That's one of the big bonuses to the sniper rifle, so it's very powerful. On top of the Icarus armor, Panfried is nuts. His aim is ridiculous. Anyway, Sylvan Stone here. She is a specialist. Now, I kind of moved one thing around a little bit for this last mission for her. Her big thing is she's got a little buddy, little robot friend. And there's kind of two ways you can kind of do the robot friend, way more attacky. And the attacky is like, hey, shock people. Flies over and shocks people, and it does more damage to robots. Oh, you can like hack a robot and see if you can either shut it down or take control of it. There's a lot of that, and Sylvan, they had this combat protocol for most of the game, but I realized, especially for this final mission, I really need them to be able to heal the folks. So Syl is gonna be mostly our medic. That being said, she's also got a chosen weapon. She has the rifle that this guy had here, the psionic guy had. He also just had a regular rifle, but the cool thing about that rifle is if it hits, it always does critical damage against psionic people. So it's still a good gun. She may be more of a medic, but I mean, she's also has 94 confirmed kills and 34 missions. So, yeah. So medical protocol, normally medkits you can only use if you're like kind of next to someone. But with Syl's gremlin friend, that's the little floaty robot guy, the gremlin can go ahead and remotely heal. So go anywhere on the map, heal them. Very useful. Revival, if someone gets a negative condition, disoriented, stunned, panicked, or unconscious, they can go and give them the old clear. Bring them back up, which is very cool. Field medic, a great pair with medical protocol. If you equip one medipack, you actually have +3. Actually, it's weird that it says 2. Actually, she has 4. I don't know why it says that. It must be some glitch. You'll see it in the game. It's 4. This one's kind of cool. The gremlin can go and protect someone, but this makes it a little bit better as it allows them to also gives them an overwatch shot, whoever they're protecting. This one's kind of neat. Every successful overwatch shot, 50% chance that she can just take another shot. I've seen it go off a few times. It's pretty neat. Finally, restoration. This one's amazing. This one is the gremlin flies to each squad member, healing or reviving them as needed, once per mission. Super useful. Yeah. Awesome medic. So, what do we got here? Let's go Mad Joe first. Mad Joe, there are some extra armors that you can kind of research, and he has what's called a war suit. War suit's pretty cool. It's got this weird like exosuit part to it, but it also lets you equip these weird like special heavy weapons. This one's called a blaster launcher. It has a lot of damage, and it's like a seeking thing. Like it's not like a regular rocket. It's like a smart bomb, a guided bomb. Pretty neat. So he's only be able to use that because he's got a special suit, extra point of armor. He's also a grenadier. He has a lot of similar things that Schmitty has, but some things are different. Got the grenade launcher, we got shredder again, suppression again, hollow targeting again. Instead of more damage on the grenades, we have this chain shot, which is actually pretty cool. So instead of shooting once with the big cannon, Joe can so there's a penalty to aim to do this, but you take 2 shots, and that can be a lot of damage. That has like a 4 round or something cooldown or something. Salvo again, and instead of saturation fire, rupture. Rupture has also been good. It is a shot that does critical damage, ensures the target takes an additional +3 damage from all attacks in the future. That's nuts. That might be very useful. So, yeah, we love our gunners. They do a lot of damage. And when they're not doing damage, they're helping their friends by shredding and hollow targeting. So, yeah.
The Reapers believe in nothing and share little interest in preserving the true nature of our world
give this to
beyond
you.
what their eyes can show them. Their actions have enraged the Elders and brought fear to their minions. In that respect, they are a
Lastly,
valued ally,
but
as long as they remain loyal
as we
to
see,
our cause.
an absolute monster of the team, we have a Rexosaurus. As I talked about before, we killed the Berserker Queen. That was the boss alien. And the Berserker Queen's armor is this weird, muscly looking thing. It's got extra armor. It has this like free melee attack that Rexosaurus can use here. Very powerful because then they can do the free melee attack and then use their regular sword attack. And her sword and her gun is from this chosen right here. This very assassin-y, melee-looking lady here. She's got a bunch of good stuff. And to be honest, the ranger here, I think, is probably my favorite, and I don't know, the most OP, I think, class in the game. I mean, first off, I really like melee, and it's the only melee class. Their base ability is, you get a sword, you can slash people. So, what do we got here? We went all to the right because it's all about swording, baby. So first off, we got Blade Master. Does more damage with the sword and has a better aim. That aim is almost always 100% once you take this first Blade Master thing. Or close to it. Shadow Ship, the soldier does not trigger Overwatch or reaction fire. Amazing. Incredible. Like, you can have their whole team, all of the aliens on their side on Overwatch. She could be like, nope, I ignore all of that. See ya. You know. Run and gun, I don't use this as much, but this is, she could run her full distance and then shoot. Most of the time I just use the sword, but if I really wanted to, you can't really tell, that's a shotgun. It's a weird alien, yeah, it's a weird alien looking thing, but the Rangers get shotguns. That's kind of their deal, as opposed to rifles. So, I don't use this too often. Bladestorm, amazing, incredible, overpowered even. Free sword attacks on any enemies that enter or attack from melee range, and that is infinite per round. She could have a whole team of aliens walk up to her. Free sword attack. And it's not like reduced damage or anything. Nuts. Absolutely crazy. Untouchable. This is kind of what really pushes it over the edge. So, if Rexosaurus scores a kill during their turn, the next attack against you during the enemy turn will miss. So, they can walk up, slash a dude, do a bunch of damage, kill them. Usually when they're walking up and slashing a dude, they're kind of putting themselves in a bad spot, right? You're putting yourself next to an enemy, which usually means like someone can probably flank you on the alien's turn, right? This means one of those shots will miss. Not only is she probably grabbing aggro from at least one person, but the first shot's going to miss. Nuts. Incredible. And last but not least, Reaper. You activate this, you just kind of like turn it on. And for this turn, every kill she gets in melee and hits. Well, I suppose it would have to hit to kill, right? So the first melee attack cannot miss, so there's that. You're guaranteed that, so that's kind of cool. Your first melee attack cannot miss, and then for every kill that you score, you just get an extra action, and you can just keep slicing and dicing. And for every kill that you get a refunded action to keep slicing and dicing. Granted, every melee attack after the first has reduced damage, so like. But yeah, there's definitely been turns where I'm like, oh man, I'm in a really rough spot. Let me have a Rexosaurus here. Just turn this on and kill 3 people by yourself. Not usually by yourself, right? You know, let's usually have other people softening up these targets first, but ridiculous. Got good armor. She moves. I gave her a thing that makes her move faster. Incredible. Last person that's probably going to be part of my team is a weird... So is not a friend. This is not a based off of a friend. This is one of the extra factions they added to the game, called the Templars. There were always psionic people that you can train. Like I have this person here, who is a psionic person. Have a lot of cool psionic abilities. She's pretty cool, but more of the Chosen, they added a different psionic like faction. And to be honest, I'd say the difference between the two is like the regular psionics are very much like we do weird ranged attacks, right? The Templars are way more like I'm a monk, sort of, in D&D. They're melee focused. Big surprise. I love melee. Look at that. They have Bladestorm. They have a bunch of really cool abilities. And to be honest, at this point, I feel like y'all just want to watch me play. We can see good old Scorch's abilities in game, I think. So the last thing I think I want to do. Anyway, these are trophies. Look at this. This is all the stuff I've collected. There's some mechs I've killed. Anyway, all of these things here are all chambers that I chose to build in. Guerrilla Tactics School, we have a power station, we have resistance comms to kind of annex parts of the world in the resistance XCOM movement. Proving ground where we make weird stuff. Resistance ring where we do covert actions with these 3 extra factions. Infirmary, very important place where we heal people. So we see no one's hurt right now, which is good. Laboratory, which speeds up research. Shadow chamber, which we're going to walk through for this mission. Psi-lab, this is where you train psionic people. We have a fairly newbie over here that's being trained. But sadly probably never going to see combat. More resistance comms and a training center. Anyway, this has been going on for a while. Why don't we play the mission? You got enough information. We've finally found where the elders are. We're gonna go track them down. We're gonna put an end to this occupation of Earth. You know what? Why don't I put this in 2-parter? Yeah, I'm thinking of putting this as a 2-parter. Just to give you guys an opportunity to decide if you want to watch all of this and the mission, which the mission is probably going to be pretty long, so well, I don't know how long. I have really good gear. Maybe over before I know it. Yeah, so I'm going to put this as a part 1 and then we'll hop into the mission.